what's going on, y'all? T-Bob here.
And Jake as well.
And you're about to watch a little OTB LSU.
We're going to give you all the latest, greatest between LSU football, baseball, women's basketball, softball, and everything in between.
Bottom line, if you want to talk Tigers, keep it locked, subscribe, like it, and we hope you enjoy. What I don't love was LSU's inability to run the ball last week.
Wasn't great, Bob.
It was not. It was not. One of the big differences in the game.
I put it right up there with Marcel Reed entering the game because
I agree.
It affected you, obviously, obvious statement, running the football, but also in pass protection, what you could do in the passing game because you became one-dimensional, what it did to free up and unlock really good edge rushers, really good interior rushers. Like it was a domino effect.
The root of all evil when it came to the offense was the inability to stay on schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Everything extends out of that single fact. Why can't you stay on schedule? Because you can't run the ball. Okay. So that is something that would have to be chief among the goals for this week to get better. Now you look, A&M, 4th in the conference in rush defense. Pretty damn good this year. Alabama, 14th. It has been a weakness for them, Jake. But with how you feel right now about this, actually, I don't want to go too far into an Alabama preview quite yet because we can have this. I was just going to say, like, with how you feel right now, how confident are you that you can run the ball against Alabama? I don't want to do that angle yet. During this bye week, in terms of what you can do better to get the running game more, and everybody feel free to get involved. What do we think? How do you seek to accomplish that?
All right, so let's kind of look at what they did in the run game. They ran outside zone 4 times, inside zone 10 times. I think that's too many for who they are.
Yeah.
1 power, 2 counters, 1 draw, 2 quarterback sneaks, and 2 that were undefined, but I think they were man schemes. For me, just the schematics of it, inside zone can't be it. You're not good at it. It's not your best run.
No.
I loved some of the stretch zone stuff they did against Arkansas.
What happened to the kind of horn boss, or I don't know if it was technically horn boss, but that toss sweep that they were busting out the first couple of weeks?
You hadn't seen that, certainly.
I know. And that was a play that I liked. Formationally, it was interesting. You would think with Caden Durham's emergence, it's like, okay, you want to get him speed and space? Like, it would seem like you have receivers to block well. You got Trades Green blocking DBs. Like, that would seem like it would make all the sense in the world to bring something like that back out.
Yes, that. Again, this stretch zone that I'm talking about, it allows the running back, you stretch the defense. You get them going east and west and not north and south. You don't do well when D-lines are going north and south against you. So when you go east and west, it allows the running back to make you right because he's stretching it until he sees the gap where he can then put his foot in the ground and go north and south. But at that point, you're not running into the teeth of the defense.
Yeah.
You have stretched them out where there's going to be different holes compared to if you're just lining up and running it because everything is trying to pursue you right now. And if a guy doesn't take the exact right angle, there's going to be a crease there. Like that was something that was good, really good actually against Arkansas, and you didn't see it.
Yeah, it's interesting why. I don't exactly know how you arrived there. I mean, maybe as a play caller, you just like you don't even realize till after the game. You look up and you're like, oh man, I just like kept going back to this while kind of ignoring this other situation. There's a lot of talk about Joe Sloan as a play caller. I think a lot of it's hyperbolic, personally. It's not to say that it's perfect. Certainly there are things that could be better and should be better, but you've seen improvement this year. But like my deal is you're still like a top 5 offense in the country. Can your OC suck if you're a top 5 offense in the country? I don't think that passes muster to me. Not to say it's perfect. There are things that you would absolutely want to improve, but like I don't think that personnel changes are the answer. If anything, my greatest concern, like I was thinking, Jake, like long-term future where this LSU team is, I think they have achieved a remarkable coaching staff right now. And the thing that would be most frustrating would be in this offseason if you lost like a Cortez Hankton.
Yeah.
Or like one of these really talented guys, because top to bottom, this is, I think, arguably the strongest full coaching staff that I've seen since I've been covering LSU. And when you combine that with the young talent and everything else, again, I'm very bullish on LSU going forward this year. I'm very bullish on LSU going forward long term, even more so. But of course, you have to retain these guys. So no, I know a lot of people are not Sloan supporters. Like a surprise, there's a bit more venom, maybe not venom. There's just like I didn't realize that was kind of an undercurrent, I think, throughout the season. And then it felt like a lot people really started. I got like multiple texts about like people reaching out and like how off the Sloan wagon they are, and I personally don't agree with that.
Yeah, it's like it's gonna be very reactive to.
Yeah, the result.
Game.
It's going to be reactive to the result. For sure. Always is. But I'm saying, but them even going back to like what, like throughout the season. I'm like, well, I mean, I don't know. Again, throughout the season, like you're still right now in the SP Plus is number 4 offense in the country. It's an opponent adjusted metric, right? So it takes into account who have you played and what success have you played. You know what else I was thinking about? And I didn't say anything about it on Saturday because I didn't want to jinx it. But when you saw that Garrett had 250 at half, you kind of knew the math gods were going to come, right? Like you're not going to go 250 and then go 250 again against a Mike Elko defense. Just like I don't. It's one of those deals. You're like, okay, good that it's going so well this far, but we're gonna have to figure something else out because just the odds are that you're not gonna make. It's every now and then you do. Look at like a Tyrion Davis-Price against Florida or whatever, right? He just kept running and it kept working. But like normally you have some sort of comeback to reality, and then you got to figure out the counter. And LSU could not figure out the counter to that day.
Yeah, and you know their counter would have been to run the football effectively, and
yeah, exactly. That's what it could have. That's what it should have been.
Yeah, I mean. You couldn't get it done. And when you become one-dimensional in an SEC top 15 matchup on the road against their strength, which, you know, is their front seven, and their front seven could take one thing completely off the board. And then in 10 of your runs inside zone, you had one defender that could add himself into the count because he knows your quarterback wasn't going to pull it.
Just crazy.
Like, think how many times you saw last year the running back press it and was still able to cut it backside because that guy who had Jaden Daniels was terrified. Now, that's not a slight at Nuss, and Nuss is not Jaden Daniels. Would never be confused for him. But that is a matter of fact when you're watching the tape that edge defender right now isn't even playing the read option. He's just playing straight inside zone handoff.
No, you're just allowing an unblocked man off the edge to crash. It's insane. But earlier in the year, they had Mason Taylor in the flats. They had a lot of built-in, like, pull and throw instead of pull and run options. You could still pull and run. I feel like I didn't see as much of that in this game. I'm going to have to look up. I have to look that up. Fon says, I'm not off the Sloan bandwagon, but the rhythm of the play calling this last game felt like the same pattern. Throw, run, throw. It did get a little patternistic at times, which, again, though, like Jake's talking about, goes back to the root of all evil, which is a distrust of the running game on first down. And then trying to be like, well, okay, but now that it's 2nd and 10, we got to try to get something, and you weren't getting something. Chris Landry, T-Bob is a lineman. Could you give perspective why teams really can't run block very well? I continue to maintain that I think you're okay. Like, I think you're okay run blocking enough to where against teams that don't have a stellar interior, you're still going to run the ball fine. But yeah, like you're not good run blockers when you go up against a line what like A&M was bringing to bear. And I the only thing I can posit still is that these are cats that grew up pass blocking from Little League to camp to everything else, and even being here, especially at LSU, where they are better, you know, they are elite pass protectors, which is a much harder part of the game. And it's just different generationally from my age where, like, you never pass block growing up. Not even in high school. Barely. Like, I remember, like, repping, like, kick steps and stuff, but never actually using them in a game. Pass blocking was just firing off and then, like, staying on them. And so I don't know. Is it a generational thing? But then again, I know Brad Davis knows how to teach run blocking. So I guess I don't have an answer that I find to be like, this is clearly what it is. All I have are theories. And my main theory is that they've kind of come up in the pass game and they're trying to learn how to run block better. But I don't know, because other teams do it. So I don't know. Just as far as like technique goes, it seems like they don't maybe fire off as much, like low and as hard and a bit more over their toes. But even sometimes, like, that was kind of a problem. This last game, sometimes you get too over their toes, they're getting swum and put on the ground. So it's a delicate balance. I don't know, man. But I think they were getting better. Like, previous to the A&M game, I did feel like they were getting better. So, again, if you don't have a great interior line, it should get a little better. But or it should feel better later on.
And also, like, the thing about this offensive line, and I mentioned it on the broadcast when I was giving the starting lineups, your first five are good. There was not a lot behind that as far as experience or depth right now that you felt like was ready to play.
Struggled when he had to come in for Dellinger.
So as soon as that happened, it went even worse than it had been going before.
And then, DJ Chester, who has been good this year, I would say. But we talked about it last week, right? A lot of maybe his mistakes are being helped out because he has very good guards around him. So then when you bring in Mabanga, it's a bit of a double impact where you're not just losing Dellinger, but then Chester's a bit more exposed as well. So he says, T-Bob, why does Chester take such a large drop step on pass blocking? I think Chester's a great pass blocker, actually. I mean, not to say that he didn't lose some this last game, but like that's where he too is strong. It's his run blocking grade that throughout the season, I don't know about this last game, but throughout the season, I know he basically was always grading out like in the green for pass blocking and like in the orange for run blocking, which you could probably say is this entire LSU offensive line.
DJ Chester, let's just go from week 5. Let's get a sample size last 4 weeks. Pass blocking 83.5, 63.8, 73.8, 60.2. Run blocking 58.2, 59.8, 50.7, 51.8, 52.
Yeah, so he's a good pass blocker. Why are you running inside zone then? No. I mean, why is that your majority run when they have when they have Shamar Turner? They have that Hicks guy who's like 6'5", 300. That's your weakest interior run blocker. That is a bit interesting. All right, give us one more grade and then we'll go to break.
So here's Miles Frazier, the right guard. Let's go same sample size. Let's go week 5 on pass blocking 85.8, 80.4, 88.1, 77.9.
Mm-hmm.
Run blocking 50.5, 52.3, 59.1, 50.6.
I said on Schoon T, they were asking me if I was worried about DJ Chester, and I said I wasn't because, again, I was trusting this O-line, and I ended up being wrong. Like, I think it ended up being an issue this last game. But we looked at Chester's grades, and I said I imagine his grades will reflect actually most of this line in terms of the disparity between pass and run, and there you go. That's almost exactly the same. Wow, Jake. What incredible takes.
I mean, those guys, they're just the best.
I think so. And if you think so, again, hit the like button, subscribe, ring the bell so you get notifications when we post every single day here on OTB LSU.